So tell us kind of how you got into the recovery scene.
So I spent about 20 years going into 12-step programs. And in my opinion, it was a lot of striving,
Yeah.
meaning like I would go and I would get dry for a while. I would think I had some recovery, but I would have some sort of character defect come back.
Yeah.
A lot of times it was relationships for me, or an old lifestyle. You
Yeah.
know, I don't know about some people, but when you first get sober, some people have an initial wonderful rehab experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not so much. Like I got out of rehab the first time 20 years ago and went back mistakenly to an old life.
Yeah.
So when you go back into that life, it doesn't fit anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I tried to make it fit, and I needed a drink after a while.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
I could not sustain it. So
Yeah.
that's been a lot of the experience. So I did that. I went to California, guys. I walked in the desert with no shoes. I asked the powers of the wind to do something.
Yeah.
Sat
Yeah.
on mountains. It just wasn't working. So about 3 years ago, somebody said my sister's place is out in Calera. Do y'all know them?
I don't know.
No.
So they're a women's faith-based, and it's a friend of mine, Cindy Hildebrand, that I knew in the rooms of AA for 20 years, that started the group. And so I went out there, and it was the first exposure I'd ever had to the Lord, or faith-based. And of course, everything about me, from my experience with being in recovery, bucked that. I did not want anything to do with that.
Yeah.
And so I kind of white-knuckled through the faith-based thing.
Yeah.
Went back out, got back in a relationship I was in prior to that, and fell again, relapsed again. After that relapse, I went to jail, went to jail, went to jail, went to jail. And it was, I could not see my child. That's still in the works.
Yeah.
8 years separated because of these decisions. Everything's a choice. But anyway, I kind of, once I relapsed that time, got out of jail, I was given the choice to go to Love Lady. And Love Lady had been on my radar for about 10 years,
Yeah.
but I thought it was for prisoners,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I was a prisoner.
Yeah. Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
know, you know how
Yeah.
you better than everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ain't
I'm
like one
not.
of these people.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
different. I'm different.
Come on.
Didn't the lady that started that, didn't she pass away?
She did.
Yeah.
She was a saint, man.
Yeah.
Beautiful lady.
Yeah.
Brenda Love Lady's
That's
family.
right. That's right.
And she wasn't in it. I never understand this either. There's people that help us that aren't addicted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't have any reason to help me,
Yeah.
other than they just love me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was one of those people.
Yeah.
And she made ways for women to have whole lives, not just get off drugs.
Yeah.
That place is designed for you to get education, for you to get reunited with your children, for you to walk paths in ministry if you want to, all kinds of things. So
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And legal issues. There's a whole legal department that takes care of some
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
that they're good at. But anyway, so went there. I was there for about a month, and I decided, okay, and I have a pastor in my life, Leslie Drake. Do y'all know him? From Love Lady? Wonderful guy. Anyway, I was there for about a month, and, you know, I went in, and I said, okay, I'm going to give up. What you got, Lord? And about a month in, I'm praising the Lord at the altar, and St. Clair County comes in and picks me up.
Oh man. Yeah.
And I was like, what is, you know, so we get, from my experience, again, I know y'all talk to all types of people. My experience has been Jesus. But, you know, at that moment, I had a choice with God. I was like, you know, you're punishing me, because I didn't know him.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm going back to jail.
It's your
but-
fault. It's not mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. How dare I have consequences?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to these actions.
I was
just
this is
praising
ridiculous.
you. I was
You're
just-
supposed to wipe it all away.
Yeah.
So I learned since then. But anyway, I was sent back in there. And the really cool thing is God uses us, even though we're not fully surrendered.
Yeah.
So I went back in there, and all I could do was read a Bible. So God gave me this incredible hunger for His Word, like just desperately looking for Him. And so I started reading my Bible, and my bunkmate was like, "We reading the Bible, you know?" And I was like, "Yeah, you want to read it with me?" So we started reading the Bible, and I stayed there about 30 days, and So I went back to the Love Lady after they released me. And the coolest thing about this whole story is, you know, I'm going in, I'm high-fiving. I'm mad, y'all, you know, just sitting down. Yeah, Jesus, you know. And I look up, man, and on the third tier is my bunkmate. She came to Love Lady, and she came to this place because God sent me, based on my consequences, back to jail so that I could, I believe, speak to her.
Yeah.
So even in our dark stuff, he'll use those things.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, try it again. Keep in mind, I want y'all to pin something. I held on to this relationship.
Yeah.
So for anyone listening that is sober and happy but can't seem to make it work and keeps hanging on to something from the past,
Yep.
For me, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hung on to this relationship. I got feeling better. I left Love Lady again. Was
On your own turn, like.
No, I just said I got kicked out.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 I got kicked out.
Yeah.
God uses my mouth for good things now. He
Yeah.
does not me so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I'm being honest, and I can do that on this. And we're on the internet, so I cussed a client rep out,
Yeah.
and you can't do that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't? You can't?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you know.
I mean, I was really justified, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
in my mind,
Yeah.
you know, I'm right, you know, and so that was dangerous for me too.
Yeah.
And, you know, if I had any reason to be right, God help us. But so, anyway, I did that, kicked the curve again. I go back to the relationship, get picked up again by the police, another set of police that wanted me. And so, I look back, God picks you. God gives you ways out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the time, it looks like dire consequences.
Yeah.
And how did I end up like this? But that's
Yeah.
really what happened.
Yeah.
So at that time, my brother, who's been a wonderful person in my life, an advocate from far away with boundaries, but an
Yeah.
advocate,
Yeah.
he said, I'll pay for you to go to the Foundry.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, if it gets me out of jail, let's
Yeah.
let's do this, you know. And I still had a desperate need. There was a seed planted
Yeah.
throughout these trips, and I left one thing out. While I was in jail, they brought church in. They allowed church to come in jail, and
So there was a ministry of some type coming in.
there was a ministry. I don't remember their name, but they were out of Raglan, Alabama. A little church, and they were real passionate about jail ministry, and they brought in a lady that water baptized. So I got water baptized in my jumpsuit behind St. Clair County Jail. So all these things were kind of lining up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went to Foundry. I met Micah and Tawana and some wonderful sisters that I still fellowship with to this day.
Yep.
Amazing people, and water started happening on my addiction. And so I started understanding that I couldn't stop in my own strength, that there was a God that loved me, that had a plan for my life. You know, and I started to hear it from the sermons, from the classes, from being around like-minded people. So I was willing, and again, this was not some huge miraculous thing I did for anybody that thinks they can't do it. I just decided to believe.
Yeah.
And so once I decided to believe, God puts his stank on everything else. Like it's just, you know, I don't even know how to describe that. So Foundry, went through their program. I got 7 months through their program in the outpatient part, and relapsed with this relationship again. So finally, this last time, where we're sitting today, about over a year ago, probably 14 months ago, I went back in there.
Yeah.
And I said, here you go. I just gave up everything. So my recovery journey has been letting go of an old identity and embracing a whole new lifestyle.
Yeah.
And it's not hard. It sounded hard when I was drinking tequila for breakfast and doing drugs.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It felt like a lot of shame and rejection.
Yeah.
And I had just experienced that. So that's kind of, to answer your question, that's how we're sitting here in a short version.
Yeah, I got you. So this last time around, said like truly letting go. What has been, I guess, your day-to-day difference today in maintaining that sobriety or maintaining that recovery than before? Because I too have had long stints of sobriety, but what is something different or indifferent? I don't know that you do now
Every
that
day?
every single day
Yeah.
that you didn't do before.
Okay, so every day, I'm in a life recovery group that we have, and it's one of the only ones locally. It's based on Life Recovery Bible. It's the 12 steps in a biblical format.
Yeah.
So that's very helpful. I have a sponsor in that as well. So, but I get up every morning. I get up an hour early on purpose. I have a devotion that I do. I get up and I seek God first. I read my Bible. I don't tell you that so you think I'm a good person.
Yeah.
I tell you that because I'm a bad person.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that the wrong way, but what I mean is in my flesh, I'm not very useful. So I seek wise counsel before I go somewhere and interact with human beings. That's the first thing I do. And then I keep the things I listen to, the things I read, and the things I associate myself with have to be something that's pouring into my sobriety.
Yeah.
I don't, I ain't some grandma, so please don't think I'm turn your rap music off. I'm not, but it's not for me.
Yeah.
I don't put that in my ears. The things I put in my eyes that I watch, I don't even have a TV. I don't mean that my life is not boring.
Yeah.
But there's just some things I cut out of my life that I'm like,
Just
it's
living
useful.
present.
Yeah,
you
being
know?
present.
Useful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, also I have people that I help along the way. I don't like the word sponsor. I like the word fellow traveler. That's what we call it.
Yeah.
That just, we kind of connect during the day. I have sisters, like Sammy. I have sisters in my life, very strong sisters that I can reach out to and say, even if I don't want some advice from you, I might say, hey, I love you.
Yeah.
So those connections during the day are important.
Yeah.
And then at night, man, I either go back and try to serve. Even sometimes serving is a phone call.
Yeah.
But a lot of times I'll go back over to Love Lady Center in the evenings and just stop by and say, man, anybody want to pray? How's your life going? Just chit chat with the ladies that just got there. God sends us back to encourage. So and then that's a day. That's a wrap for a day.
Yeah.
But that keeps me, like you said, in the moment.
Yeah.
And it also keeps me focused on God and not myself,
Yeah.
which is what keeps me being a new person.
Yeah.
I'm not the person I was.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I want to ask this question, and I guess this is from a male to male's perspectives. And I don't know, I know recovery is recovery in the end, but from what we have seen, this is observationally, there's certain things between a male perspective and a female perspective on recovery.
Yeah.
And, some women that might be watching this as well, what is something that necessarily, because me and Chase can't relate to a female's perspective going through recovery,
Yes.
right? We only can relate to what we can relate to.
Yeah.
So what are some of the struggles, I guess, through recovery that maybe women deal with that necessarily males might not deal with, if that makes any sense?
Yeah. So I think men deal with pride more than women. Women deal with shame. So for women, big obstacles, I keep repeating myself, old relationships that you're new. You can't go back in.
Yeah.
That's one. Being without your children. When a woman is stripped of their motherhood based on choices you made with your permission,
Yeah.
that hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It hurts. So that is another one that, I think women struggle with. I also think women, and we were kind of talking on the way over here, women struggle sometimes because when you're out there, you've spent a lot of time being manipulative
Yeah.
with your sexuality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mean that the wrong way.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is, I don't mean sexual things when I say that.
Yeah.
I mean because of the way you look, act, or what you may be able to get a man to do.
Yeah.
That doesn't fit anymore.
Yeah.
That doesn't fit in anything. Recovery principles. I don't care if you're a Buddhist. There's principles.
Yeah.
Now, I don't believe that. But what I'm saying is Jesus is the way. But I do believe for women, those are the bigger obstacles. Is
Yeah.
how to shed a sexual identity, how to still know you're the mother God called you to be, no
Yeah.
matter what addiction stronghold did to you. And there's a way out. And old relationships.
Yeah.
Trying to fix a dude.
Yeah.
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 I got
A
you.
lot of them do it. I
Let me
do.
ask you this, and I don't mean to cut you go.
No, you're good. You're good.
So, if where you're at today, what's some advice you would give yourself, say, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that maybe could help you then? But I mean, obviously you can't. But what's something you would tell your old self now?
I would say completely surrender everything.
Yeah.
What are you fighting for?
Yeah.
You drink every day. You use drugs every day. You let somebody talk down to you every day. You live in a subpar living conditions. Light a match.
Yeah.
Let it go. If 10,000 people did it and they're happy and successful and they're preaching the message of this worked,
Yeah.
what are you doing, Missy?
Yeah.
Why are you different? So that would probably be, and I love you. I would say that to myself.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna come through this, and
Yeah.
you're gonna be so different and so feel worthy of being alive. I think when we're in addiction, when I was in addiction, I got to a point that I was suicidal and homicidal. You know,
Yeah.
I just got to a point where I'll kill you or I'm going to kill me because
Yeah.
there's no way to feel better.
Yeah.
So, sorry guys.
right.
I think that would be the advice: is to surrender
Yeah.
and just try it. What do you got to lose?
Yeah.
Getting up every day and being miserable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. So, I mean, obviously, I asked you this. I know sobriety is obviously the clear answer here, but what are your goals? Like, where do you see yourself going? I mean, sobriety takes us a lot of different ways,
Yes.
in good ways. I mean that in good, but, I know serving and this, but where do you kind of see yourself going?
Yeah.
Where's your trajectory? Where's your dreams? What are you trying to do with all this?
Thank you. Yeah, okay. So, it's crazy because I know what I'm doing, like literally one step in front of me, and it's very fulfilling right now. But to answer you, when I graduated this time,
Yeah.
I still am, very much on fire for God. But I thought, man, I'm going to work in ministry right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And God's like, no, I'm going to send you somewhere.
Yeah.
And the Holy Spirit gave me this word exercise, and I was like, exercise? What are we talking about? And the Holy Spirit was like, exercise. So a couple days into this new job, I realized that God was sending me out with this light to exercise what I'd been taught in front of others, and show them that you can do things with integrity and still and be an adventurous person, because I'm still a risk taker. That's who I am.
That's who you are, man.
But I'm going to school, and I say this, I probably need to quit saying this, but God paid for school for me to be an addiction counselor. I'm not a counselor. I'm a coach.
Yeah.
So we'll see where that goes. And I have a couple of opportunities coming up. One's with Hope Inspired Ministries. Did you guys experience that?
Yeah.
So I may be saying something too soon, but I'm going to talk with them about something they got going on.
Yeah.
And they really changed my world for you guys. Did that happen for y'all?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were.
Yeah.
I think we were the first, or one of the first people that they had one going up to.
Job Crystal.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love her, man.
See,
So-
Jeff's
Jeff.
my cousin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So their family, Jeff and Crystal,
All
their
right.
family.
All
Yeah.
right. They were wonderful. Man.
Yeah, they're good people.
I love
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, helped me out a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, HIM or Hope Inspired
Yes.
Ministries and everything. I think that's very critical because look, and this is kind of my view of it is in recovery or setting people bring them out of addiction. You try to set them up for obviously your faith or your lifestyle, but teaching them skills like how to really support. Because some of these people, that's all they know how to sell dope.
Amen.
Yep.
Or they've just been in situations, living expenses, or living situations that they don't know how to do anything else but to do this. So when you kind of take that same drive
Yes.
and you kind of
Apply.
apply it to like a real world skill, because look, well, I don't care what anybody says, like to measure out dope, you got to know math.
Yeah.
You know,
Like
to
it.
sell dope, you got to know profit margins.
Yes.
So you have some natural,
I have a real experience with that with him. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
So, a couple things. So, I watched a guy come into our class, and you know how we come in rehab. We look a little crazy.
Yeah.
Still am.
I mean, look, he's still dressed in the costume that does drugs.
Yeah.
So anyway, he comes in, and no names, but he comes in, had sideways, talking about some well, girl. Sits down all bowed up,
Yeah.
And I was like, look at this dude. For me, and this was who I was at the time. I was like, psh.
Yeah.
So, rock on to 6 weeks later. We're graduating, and this guy is fired up. We're in the the sanctuary at the foundry. We're all high-fiving. And God showed me something. This guy was actually, they asked him what he liked to do when we sat down. He said, shoot guns. He had a park ranger's. He was getting ready to go to school to be a park ranger.
Oh.
So God will say, "Oh, you like to shoot guns? Cool. You're going to come over here, and we're going to shoot guns this way.
Yeah.
And you're going to serve me.
Yeah.
And you're going to be, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And in my experience in him as well, halfway through that program, it was a big seed for me, buddies. I mean, a big seed. Because I was halfway through that program, and I came into it, and I don't mind saying this. In a previous life, my story's crazy, but I was a state director for the breathalyzer program for one of the vendors of the state of Alabama. So, this does not discriminate against people.
Yeah.
So I went into this thinking, to your point, opposite. I was like, these people won't show me how to write a resume. All full of your pride and crap. And about halfway through it, I had this beautiful old lady, Antoinette Sands. Do y'all know her?
I don't know. Antoinette.
And Gene.
Yeah, I know Gene.
Yeah, Gene.
Gene went to school,
Yeah.
high school, with my dad.
It's my guy.
Yeah, dude.
That's my guy. Very much so.
Yeah.
So I get halfway through this program, and we do this testing, and I get these results. And I had been a bad mother, an alcoholic, a drug addict, a loser for years in my mind. And I got these results. I'll never forget it, because God uses natural things to identify you. And it said top 3. Did y'all do the top 3 career choices?
Yeah. You got to take that little thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I went deeper. There was another alternate. There was that, but there was an alternate program that they did, that they offered. It was really cool. But to the point, the top 3 came back. And so as I sat there and I read the results, I was like, oh my God. The first one was news reporter. The second one was pastoral. And the last one was addiction counseling. And for the first time in many, many years, I felt re-identified.
Yeah.
And I just went to pieces, man.
Yeah.
And all right alongside that, God was talking. God showed me an identity verse in the Bible. And it all started smashing together, like this new stuff that you just start tearing out. And I can't describe it. Hey, I know them very well. Hey, girls.
What's up?
But anyway, I just want to give a big hats off to him, because it was a big part of what's up.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And, like I was saying earlier, I think, to my point, you said it too, man, I have a master's degree. And I was like, where do they go? Like, what are they going to teach me? I can know a computer or whatever else like that. But I was saying it was very, very humbling.
Yes.
And it taught me to be in the moment, and it wasn't always about Chris.
Yeah. Amen.
And it was like, what can I better serve these guys? I might know how to do this, but what can I better serve these
Chris
guys?
taught the class half the time.
Oh,
It's hilarious. Yeah.
But I
I
mean,
was over there being bad.
I sat sideways.
Yeah. I was just, no, not even that. I was just the class clown.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. I already know. I know your mom. Anyway, but I mean, it's this weird seed planting that I didn't see coming based on what you're saying. Because I could succeed in the world.
Yeah.
But I had never heard God call me something different.
Yeah.
In the middle of a career class.
Yeah.
So he met me in my dirt
Yeah.
on my street.
Yeah.
He was like, okay, you want me to call you something? Okay. No need to push your Bible aside, but let me show you let me give you some hope.
Yeah.
So for the first time when we got those results, I started remembering that those were things I did want to do.
Yeah.
You know? And so anyway, it was beautiful. I love that
Yeah.
program.
Yeah.
Can't say enough about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was. I think it's very instrumental in really kind of bringing people out of that life.
Yes.
You know, because you can give them, I guess, tell them to read their Bible. And I'm no offense, like you,
You're
but
good.
like reading your Bible, if you don't know how to work, if you've never worked a real job, like, come on, like we got to start pairing these things up to really set them up. And I think the Foundry does a great job.
Yeah.
And not just, the Foundry, but it's other programs are pairing them up to teach you not only like just to keep you sober for X amount of time, but they're
Yes.
like, hey, this is how you stay sober.
Yes.
This is how you stay busy when you feel a type of way, or these are real skills so you can go out into the world and,
And not do drugs.
Well, the
Yeah.
Foundry let you find God. You know,
Yes.
I mean, I see so many walks of life coming through there because we do a class on Wednesday nights at the
the Foundry?
Bessemer. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
for Unbound Grace.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
I love what they do.
yeah, we facilitate their group there. So, but it's and it gives us we talked for a while because we wanted to be involved in the Foundry, and it's not, we've interviewed Micah and everything, and it wasn't the right time, we were like, well, maybe they'll ask us, like it's.
Yeah.
In my mind,
Yeah.
I'm not speaking for Chris.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
know exactly
I'm like,
what you're
oh, we're doing this kind of like they inspired us to do this, and like,
Surely
and
they'll see.
I'm thinking like, yeah, and so like,
Yeah.
and it wasn't that we got to go, we got invited to one of Unbound Grace galas. That's a hard one. And we ended up meeting all those guys, and so we interviewed them, not interviewed,
Yeah.
podcast with them, whatever you want to call it. And then we loved them. We were just like, we just want to hang out with them, and we invited them to go to lunch, and
No agenda. We just wanted to kick it with
yeah,
them, like
just
nothing.
Yeah.
ended
Yeah.
up they invited us to lunch technically, like
Okay.
we wanted just to hang
I
out.
like how things, when it's time,
yeah,
will explode.
yeah.
Well, they will, and I believe what you're talking about. is
Yeah,
perfect for that.
they saw what we were doing with this, and that's what they kind of wanted to incorporate. So like,
Love it, man.
boom, it's like not even a year later, we're like, oh, why aren't they asking us, and like, and then,
I know exactly what you're
yeah,
talking about.
yeah, and
I
like-
do.
like, and
Surely
then-
they'll know.
yeah. And,
So what kind of class do y'all take? What's the class?
It's like a mentorship class.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
We're about to get ready. I can't. I need to be cool about what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
yeah.
We're doing a similar thing for women. We have a contributor, a beautiful. I wouldn't even call it contributor. We have a mentorship type of relationship with a lady named Beverly McNeil through Portraits of Hope. I don't know if y'all have heard of that. It's beautiful, beautiful. But they're getting ready to kick something off similar. I may be calling y'all.
Okay.
I may be calling.
Yeah.
And well, the beauty of it that I guess we kind of have, I don't know, we can kind of relate to those guys. And no, again, this is no offense, but it's not we're not a church coming in there to talk about that. Like we've been through this, man.
Yeah.
We sat in your seats. We've been through the program. I've been through the court system.
Same.
Been through the legal system. I'm saying it's like we're bringing that dynamic here, and like we're one decision away from being right here, guys.
Yeah.
So please don't ever think that we're coming here and talking at you or like we have it together all the time. When we sit down on these chairs, we're one of you sitting right now.
Same.
Yeah.
That's been there through it. And again, I'm not, saying anything about churches, but sometimes I know when I was in the Foundry, you have people coming in. I'm like, bro, you really
You're
don't
miles
know.
away from me.
Yeah, you're miles away. And like, I need something to help me now in this moment, not when I, a year from now, or of course that's where I want to be. But like, buddy, this is not like, I need something to help me now.
I know exactly what you're talking about. So you ever hear somebody that's been doing this 40 years and they're on a pedestal somewhere and they're just their whole life looks like some picture.
Yeah.
I cannot relate.
Yeah.
But I can relate to someone, and to your point, yes, all the dirty, nitty gritty things, we do that too.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
just, we have this biblical 12-step group, and it's interesting because you can say things in there that you couldn't say in church,
Yeah.
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 and there's healing in that.
Yeah. Well, that's
When you
where
can
we.
come in and not be like, I'm gonna be holy today.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
one's
yeah.
holy.
Yeah. No. No.
So, but I do want to.
It's a curse word that can't.
Yes.
Say it, man.
Yeah,
Say it.
yeah, and
You know
if you
what I
need
mean?
to, and I mean, trust
Yeah.
me, I don't do good on that sometimes either.
I mean,
but what
definitely not
I am saying,
us. You know what I mean? We
What I-
try. We
Definitely not
try.
me,
man,
dude.
what
but-
I am saying is,
Definitely not me.
You know?
I do turn my life and my will over.
Well, it's
You know?
also asking those guys how their day, how their week, how
Yes,
they
yes.
don't have that. You know, it's
Yes, I
a
do.
routine there. I love the Foundry, but it's a routine.
Mm-hmm.
So, and a lot. It's not that I want to say this cautiously, but it's not that they forget, but like sometimes, man, like all the guys want, women too. I'm assuming too, is just like to be like, how's your day?
Yeah,
You know what I
for
mean?
real.
Like, how are you?
Yeah, I don't need a
What's-
report.
You know
Are
what I
you
mean?
just
Not
good? Or you
you're
not good?
throwing Bible verses at
Yeah,
me
amen.
constantly.
I get it.
You know what I
I
mean?
get it.
Like I've got something going on in my mind.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like it's not just a like. I get it, like,
Yeah,
but they sometimes, and I think all programs, it's not just
Yeah.
that. It's that they forget sometimes, like it's
Yeah.
the people, man.
Now I like to take relatable things, and then you can turn them into something that is relatable biblically,
Yeah,
but not out the gate.
yeah,
So to your point, had I pulled up at the AA group I pulled up to 20 years ago, and you had unapologetically told me it was about God, because it is, I would have kicked your seat and skirted out of there,
yeah,
and to never come back.
yeah,
Yeah.
Because I just didn't want to hear about it. But you can make things relatable, and you can make, there's real-time things that happen to me. I was just talking about it to her. I have times when I fall short, like I'll be at work, my witness. I'm new, I'm walking.
yeah.
So I'll fall short. I don't mean being perfect. What I mean is like,
Dang,
Yeah.
it's a big old
oh,
thing.
you didn't
Sorry.
see him. You
Squirrel.
didn't see him. You didn't see
Squirrel,
him.
dude.
Yeah,
But what I mean is like falling short and just being a real person. Just being able to, let's try again tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you don't have to drink or do drugs because your court date sucked.
Yeah.
Or you didn't get to see your kids.
Yeah. Or things didn't go how you wanted them to go.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not always an excuse
Yeah.
to do that. And I love it in the fact of, especially, the capacity that we're in, is that like, it frustrated me, and I'm just being real right now. It's like, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. They're like, all right, well, read the Bible, or what is God? I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
nah, bro.
Come on.
Like, I ain't trying to hear this right now.
I like it. Yeah.
Where, like, I need somebody to be real with me right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
you're being, to me, I just felt that was inauthentic. And
Yeah.
it was just saying something
Yeah.
like at that. And that was just something I was like, man, what's something we can do better with somebody, in the fact of that we can, like, hey, we can go right there right
Yeah,
now. We can
yeah.
get on your level.
Yeah, you need to go there
Yeah.
so that somebody knows that it's still doable.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by the mountaintop people. I love
Yeah.
them and I need them
Yeah.
in my life,
Oh,
but I'm
absolutely.
not that.
I remember
You know?
going, and this is when I was figuring out kind of honesty. I'm still working on that too, getting better sometimes, but like. It wasn't that I was trying to hurt their feelings, but like, I was going through something, and like I kind of confided, and like they kind of just like brought out the Bible and like
Yeah.
read me a verse and was like, "Well, I hope that helps." I'm like, "It doesn't.
Yeah.
Like that didn't help me at all, man."
Yeah.
Like,
I'm gonna go tear something up.
yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
I appreciate it, but like that didn't
Yeah.
help me
Yeah.
at all. I was needing like a
somebody
voice
to sort
that
through
needed
this
from
with.
your heart, not the, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like,
yeah.
and if you weren't comfortable with it, all you had to do is tell me, like,
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
But like, it's not that I'm saying don't run to the Bible. Everybody should,
Yes.
it's the word, but
It's a journey to get there, though.
yeah, but it's a lot of people don't understand it.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
so sometimes I think people just like they'll read it to you and it's like, you get it? I'm
Yeah.
like, what?
No, sure
What?
didn't.
Like,
Sure
no,
didn't.
I don't.
Didn't.
There's a little more explanation here, man. Like, you know, like,
So thank God for real people
Yeah.
that allow. Like I worked in intake at Love Lady,
Yeah.
and it delivered me in a different way from
Yes.
addiction.
Yes.
So when I would sit across from someone that hair was just like mine,
Yeah.
hair sideways,
Yeah.
4 warrants hot.
Yeah.
There's a way to love people that is preaching without talking.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's just the way you are. There's
Yeah.
presence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes not shoving something at people.
Yeah.
Just being present
Yeah.
and listening was really helpful for me. And if you're doing a mentor program,
Yeah.
letting people just rattle off about whatever it is, and just being loving and present.
Yeah.
I could never do that in my addiction.
Well,
I didn't care.
You know,
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be present. What you got? What we doing? What we doing? I'm out.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I don't know. It's a whole different thought process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's one thing too is like I've learned with doing that every Wednesday, a lot of the guys, they got stuff to talk about. It gives them a safe place, but like a lot of them want answers that we can't give, and we tell them that, and we talk, but there's one guy that he's known forever, no names, but like I love it, and I told him this the other day because I see him figuring it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not what we're doing, but like he's coming in and he's talking and he's working through stuff in his mind, and like that's the coolest part.
Yes.
It's like sometimes you don't gotta give anybody answers. You just, dude, you're gonna
gotta
answer.
give
You're
them a
answering it
space.
yourself,
Yeah.
man.
Yes.
You gotta
Yes.
let him. You're like
Yes.
Chris knows him, so he's kind of more. I wouldn't say stern on him, but he's just like, dude, what do you want me to say? You're answering your own question right now, man.
Yeah.
So like, but now he's coming in and he's like, well, I thought about this today, and I tell the man, and I tell everybody too, and everybody makes fun of it, whatever. I don't care, but where I found is like you have to search a little deeper.
Yeah.
Whatever answer you're looking for, you have to search a little deeper.
Yeah.
Whether it makes sense a little bit, but at that moment in time, it's like there's sometimes things I don't understand. I'm like, oh, that makes sense, and I'm like, no, it doesn't. So I gotta look a little deeper.
Yes.
And like,
Sometimes asking people questions
yeah,
along the way helps them to keep looking deeper.
Yeah.
Like it helped me that
Yeah.
way. It helped me. If somebody would keep asking.
yeah,
And then you start doing it on your own, like you're talking about.
yeah,
And then you start getting into some kind of solution because you're miserable.
yeah,
Because if you wake up every day and you're depressed, it's like, okay, what? I don't want to do this anymore.
yeah,
So you start pulling yourself along out of it. And biblically, yeah, that comes along the way. Please know that I didn't jump out this morning but it is what has changed my life.
yeah,
But the truth is I didn't start out like that, same as y'all.
yeah,
I didn't want to hear it. I got a children's Bible because it had pictures in it.
yeah,
And that
Yeah.
I followed along. This is how I did that.
yeah,
I went down to the library at Lovelace Center. I got a children's Bible. I said, I can understand pictures.
yeah. Me
You know?
too.
So I started there, and then I got a message Bible. I stole a message Bible from the thrift store. Sorry, Foundry. I did. I stole a Bible from the thrift store
Yeah.
so I could learn. But, I don't know, man. I was desperate.
Yeah.
I think the more desperate you are, and for the amount of years that I spent doing the things where I bucked what people said,
Yeah.
I was finally ready to receive something different.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad y'all are doing a mentor program, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be leaning on y'all soon.
yeah.
Not that we have it figured out.
No,
but I
sometimes
like
it's just
that you
like
do.
Yeah.
sometimes we're like, I
Well,
don't know.
No, it's
We-
okay.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but whatever.
What's going on right now?
We
dude?
ask questions,
How do we do this?
like especially the guys phasing out. So like,
Yeah, that's what we want to do.
Chris always asks that question of like, what can we do better?
Yeah.
Like what would you change? all it's been is bring donuts.
Yeah.
Do y'all? I used to take those to work release, and
Yeah.
nobody would come to my meeting till I brought donuts.
Yeah, well, no,
That's
like
fine.
people come and they still show up there, but like, but like
Yes.
that's the, as I say this is like, it's nothing to brag on what we do. It's
Yeah.
it's just that's what they need, you
Yeah,
know.
you should brag on what you do, though.
But-
Just being present and
Yeah,
being
but
around and being
it's-
available.
But it's what the guys need more than anything. It's like we just come in and talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
Do y'all
all we
still
do.
do the follow along, like questions? Do you do?
No,
we
we don't-
kind of just go
no.
in there and just
You
like
don't do the question
No.
book?
No,
That's
we don't.
awesome.
We
Yeah,
take
that
that.
makes it
We
more
take that.
authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah, we take that. Because I mean,
I like
what's the agenda? It's like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we've come. Chris asked questions,
I like
but
it.
like at the same time, sometimes we don't even ask questions or like give you questionnaires because half the time we don't even hit those.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like, and then it's more like I want to know what's going on in your mind, man.
Yeah.
Not
Yes.
not
going
me
on?
asking you a question you've been asked 100 times.
And you got a donut answer for.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I get
you
it.
to figure out, you know?
Yeah.
And so, like, the agenda is like, you know, I mean, we obviously take on the rules that, you know, Unbound Grace
Yeah, absolutely.
has and things
Yeah.
like that, but, like,
Absolutely.
at the same time, it's kind of, it's not ours, but we kind of make it ours because, again, like Chris said, it's like, we know what it feels like. We did
Me
that
too.
whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, we
Do
don't,
y'all? There's a big gap between graduating,
yeah,
Yeah.
a bubble,
yeah,
and see you later.
yeah,
It's like,
Yeah.
whoa, hold on a minute.
yeah,
Yeah.
So having those things along the way and people that walk along with you,
Yeah.
and some kind of accountability to be at a meeting somewhere,
yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
to say, you know, I gotta come to this Bound Grace, or I gotta
Yeah.
get on the phone. Anyway, I think it's a big helper.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Because
it
we have the
makes-
same thing.
Yeah, it makes. I know. Or I can't speak for Chris, but I know it does. With especially with the guys that just phased out, they're like, man, I looked forward to this
Yes.
every week.
Yes.
You know, like it's the one thing
Yeah.
that they look forward to,
Yeah.
and that makes you feel good. It's
It
like,
does.
well, cool,
Yeah.
but it's also showing up. You know,
Yes,
a lot of those
Yes.
guys like they don't got people just to show up for them,
Yeah.
I do.
and
know.
like that's important.
Yeah.
That's what we make. It don't matter if we're busy with our company.
Yeah, don't matter.
Wednesdays, like, I don't care. Like, oh, we got to get this done. Well, sorry, we'll be back tomorrow.
Made the
Yeah.
We got
commitment.
something to
Yeah.
do, man.
Yeah.
We gotta do this.
You know, if you
You
don't
couldn't make those
understand.
commitments in addiction.
No, heck no.
You know.
Well,
No.
honestly, it helps. It helps me out.
Yeah,
I think more than it probably helps them out.
that's what I'm saying.
You know, because you get to go back in there and just like, you know, be one of those. You know, like kind of talk about your day.
Yes.
And what I'm learning from them, man, it just, and Chase and I talk about it. And I talked about the guys. I'm like, I don't think y'all understand what y'all do for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't give you a drop of what the buckets y'all give to me.
Yes.
And when we actually leave here and get to go out and everything, it's like it don't matter how bad my day's been,
Yeah.
or my week's going, or what we have lined up, or everything's going wrong. When I come here, it puts everything in perspective.
Yes.
And it's like I'm glad I have those problems.
Yeah. Right.
You know, I'm glad I have that.
Yes.
Because those really ain't problems. If you
They're
really think
not.
about it, you
They're
know.
not.
But
They're not.
I'm
They're
just thankful.
So,
I really am thankful for Unbound Grace and the Foundry. Really.
yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I mean that sincerely. I do.
I know that.
Yeah.
I can feel that.
So-
And same here.
Yeah.
But the mentorship piece, we is something that we need.
Yeah.
And that they're addressing. I know that they're working on something,
Mm-hmm.
but definitely, man. Because when you go back out, like I said, you need something.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or you just end up being institutionalized, and nobody wants to do that.
Yeah.
Or you
Yeah.
just live there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all know people like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to do. I don't do that. That's
Yeah.
not who I am.
Yeah.
Like I like.
Get your stuff. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But anyway.
it's a part of like living in the real world.
Yeah.
You know, it's
This is how we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
By the
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
this is who we were supposed to be.
Yeah.
Not what was covered up on us.
Yeah.
You know, in addiction.
Yeah.
So much gets covered up about
Yeah.
your character and about who you really are.
yeah.
That's not me. That was not, I don't even know that person. I'm like, that was me. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah. Then I'll think about, yeah, that was me. I
Yeah.
did do
Yeah.
those things. I did say those things.
Me too.
You
Yeah.
know, and I was like
Yeah.
crazy for me to even think about. You know, I was
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Can we just forget it? No, I'm
You
just
know,
kidding. But no,
yeah.
you gotta walk
Well,
through that
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
we talk about that all the
Yeah.
time. It's like
Sometimes
I
you gotta
don't.
lean into it, but yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
that was me. I did those
Yeah.
things.
Yes.
You
How
know?
Taking
embarrassing it
responsibility.
is, but that shame, that guilt,
Yes.
that it tends. It doesn't. I don't think it just really fades away, but it gets better.
Yeah.
You know, because then I'm like, I don't do that anymore.
Yes.
I don't have to be that chase anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
And
I never was.
You never were. That's
Yeah.
the truth.
So I mean, and that's like, you don't have to be that person where, like you said, it was the misery, waking up
Yeah.
for tequila for breakfast.
Yeah,
You know what I
literally,
mean? Like
literally,
it was
literally.
yeah, that or whatever I had.
And the rest of the story.
Yeah.
But I think somebody told me this, and you probably heard this before, but it's important to be esteemable, to have self-esteem. You do esteemable things,
Yeah.
and it just hit me like later on in my recovery, like. What y'all are doing and what we're doing is esteemable because you're helping,
Yeah.
or you're learning, or you're giving back, or you're not, or somebody's giving back to you.
Yeah.
But my point is you're building like a different. Again, this is about coming out of addiction. A different character,
Yeah.
the character, the person you're supposed to be.
Putting good in the world
Yes.
when there's not a lot of it out there.
And we didn't
Yeah.
care when you're addicted.
Yeah.
Ain't got time for all that.
Yeah.
Need some gas money and 2 cigarettes, and how do I get where I'm going?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't feel like that today.
Yeah, I'm gonna
You know?
buy a tall boy with 50 cents.
$1.47.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still reserves.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get through the day.
Yeah.
Literally, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. So yeah, I can totally get real, but I can also I want you to know like my life is different because of God.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah, man.
all right.
Well, I think I'm good. Are you?
Yeah.
I want to say this to everybody: we can give money, we
Okay.
can give material, but when somebody gives us their time, that's something you never give back, or you get back. And we just want to say we appreciate it. You giving us your time to
thank
tell
you.
your story, being vulnerable, being authentic with us.
Yeah,
all right,
thank you.
and so I appreciate that, guys. Show us some love. We appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Thank you.